Proverbs 19 verse 17. He that hath pity upon the poor lendeth unto the Lord, and that which he hath given will he pay him again. As mentioned before, from this, you can see why this limits many ministries. In fact, many pastors and preachers are single-minded. Why is that? And now you will know that it is because before they die, at most, it's an improvement in the degree of character consolidation, without changing himself to be more like God. They are not more like God at all. I have my reasons for saying so. Why? Because I know from experience. Most of them, Lester Sumrall, Kenneth Hagin, Oral Roberts, the reason for being famous, because when they were in death, they chose to believe and trust in God. That is when they are about to die. When Kenneth Hagin was 13, he was already in a wheelchair and thought he was dying. Lester Sumrall thought he was going to die when he was 17, Oral Roberts suffered from pneumonia. At that time, getting this disease was a sure death. However, they experienced God at that time. This unique experience led them to make a covenant with God. Now, you see, and they made a covenant at that time, what is presented is determination and character. Don't think twice, it must be about character. Because, in their hearts, they were afraid, wishing God would hear their voices. How, then, can they allow their hearts and character to be fake, filthy, or self-righteous? So they decided to God at that time, thus, cast a fine gold character, that is. They took advantage of that experience, forged a new character. That's something you don't have until you're 13 or 17. But then there was no new impact, to drive them to a new character, or solidify a better character. Not at all. Like yesterday at dinner, when I answered strategist Eddie, I said, when we get rich, we must have a new lifestyle. Because, many times, when we fall into trouble, we forge a new character, especially when it comes to death. I've experienced it myself, forging a new character amid illness, but I didn't stop there. For I have not given up a single vision that God has given me. This includes His call for me to return to Hong Kong to become a full-time pastor. I'm willing to do it without any financial support. I am eager to do everything God has entrusted me to do. In the process, I forged a new character each time, but the character that is created by impinging on your decision, it must be nurtured through hardship, lack, and risk. Now that we are all rich, money can never run out. Even how the church spends it, it has enough money to last 1,000 years. Do you understand? Well, in this case, how can your character improve? What about your decisiveness? Indeed, in times of comfort, the only way to improve character, it is to serve one another in the community of Zion, to love your neighbor as yourself. In this way, we can practice our determination again. For example, coming to the neighborhood early every morning to help clean up, instead of waking up every day and saying, I'm rich, I'm a billionaire. Billions. Even so, you can be a humble servant, actively participate in cleaning toilets, cooking, and serving each other. So, I'm going to set up a new way for you, so that when you succeed in the future, you will still have the opportunity to use your determination, to build a new character, such as humility, servant's heart, etc. It's the only way. Otherwise, when everyone gets rich, they avoid the heavy stuff. He would not do any work that affected his mood. Say, why would I want to do something that affects my mood? Or, if food is not delicious, you will not eat it again. Of course, even if you barely eat it, it won't improve your character or your determination. This means that you tend to avoid a lot of things that make you uncomfortable and dislike. Then, when you become rich, your determination and character will deteriorate. It's just like David. Therefore, I want to help you, that is, all full-time ministers, set up a new way for you to serve each other. This requires you to practice it from the heart of loving your neighbor as yourself. So you see, why are the two most important commandments in the law? It's about loving God and loving your neighbor as yourself. Because if you claim to love God, but not those you can see and who deserve your blessing, how can you prove that you love God? Of course, the new character forged under these circumstances, or reinforce existing good qualities, it tends to be weaker. Compared to how I was willing to work hard when resources were scarce, and the character that was created, that's a David versus Goliath series. After all, progress is better than stagnation, it's better than getting worse, better than stepping back because no one reminds you. In fact, for this lifestyle, God may give us more visions, it really takes us a little bit of work to get there, if so, it's too great. Now, you see from this point, in fact, we look at life, and it should have been so profound. The problem is, no matter what psychology books you read, I can't explain it so deeply. Why? Because they are not searching for God. So, I used to say that the most important thing about being alive, the best thing you can do to improve your character is to seek God. But when you look deeper for God, as I do, you may be wondering, why doesn't God directly use the God MasterCard to represent himself, or cast his own face? Do you understand? We cannot make an idol, like worshipping Guangdong. Even in Old Testament times, sacrifices required burning incense, but now we don't even need incense. We don't need any of it. Why does God want us to seek the object? Is it always those on whom he has worked? Turns out, when you're slowly in the process, after filtering out all evil motives, you will see that the hand of God that was on that person is also on you. This means you found some clues. However, unlike Kenneth Hagin, Kenneth Copeland, Casey Treat, and Bob Yandian, from those whom they imitated, after learning the skills that others cannot learn, they stop from now on. For example, Benny Hinn learned about miraculous healing from Catherine Kuhlman, and then it stops, that's all. But I'm not. I'm going to continue to learn from the other person, and then I learn from someone else. Keep learning from more people. Therefore, I found that the common denominator is character. Indeed, I find the common denominator is character. But they only learn from one person. What character are they talking about? Sometimes, people do not know their own character and thus deceive themselves. So, if they only learn from one person, you can't accumulate enough experience points to be able to analyze things the way I did. But as the past few decades have proved, no matter who I learn from, I can do what they do. Proverbs 19 verse 17. He that hath pity upon the poor lendeth unto the Lord, and that which he hath given will he pay him again.
I've got your passion in me, a heart that never dies. The years may pass me by, but your love will stay the same. I've got your passion in me, a heart that never dies. The years may pass me by, but your love will stay the same.